there's a long run for those guys to get back in the paint to try to stop him from scoring.
I think it's pretty simple for Grant McCaslin's team. Keep the ball out of the paint and get the ball to the paint.
Stirtz covered out front by Williams. Stirtz stumbles, bounce pass to Abreu for three. Yes!
Does he play bigger?
If JT gets low, he's got to get lower. That's the only advantage he has to use that leverage, because the length is definitely in JT Toppin's favor.
Stirtz to Banks. Banks throws it up. Oh, how about that shot? Here we go. I thought it was interesting when Ben McCollum said that Stirtz is totally the opposite of him. And he said, that's good.
This is good for Bennett Stirtz because we haven't had a whistle in a while.
That's true.
He's more minutes than anyone, so he's not. Federico is in the game. You've got another longer player that can protect inside out and someone that is a lob threat for Texas Tech.
Yeah, they put Christian Anderson on Stirtz. Stirtz sweeps it into the paint, and the jump shot is good. Little soft. Oh, there you see the scores. 25 of 27 have come from the two guys.
You know, Tom, coaches listen to me and Dad. He didn't get a lot of touches in that first game, and they still won. Beautiful three right there.
Interior.
This is a 21-9 run for Texas Tech that has allowed them to build to a 6-point lead, but everything's at 2. Abreu up top, his third three attempt. It's good. He's got 3 tonight. It's the third team foul.
Be a little bit more active in ball screen coverage. Maybe go for a few more blocks.
Again, Mascari touched that ball there. He only has 2 shots here tonight. Holmes off the bench has been good. He gets another bucket to play here, just the way it lined up to play Drake. Stirtz, baseline, Holmes again. Boy, what a game he's having. 2.5 to play. Grill again, this time for 3. No good. And Stirtz with the rebound, looking up the floor, speeding up the floor. And jam from the base. 15 foul from Missouri. Jackson will inbound. Stirtz like a receiver going deep. Corrals it.
Man to man right now. And this is
Bounce pass to Jackson. What a read by Stirtz. And Barrett knifes his way to the basket, lays it in. It's his first bucket.
It's a good job by Warwick to switch sides of the floor in transition. That gave them an opportunity to open up the rim.
11 minutes to play in the second half.
And Bennett Stirtz hasn't taken a shot yet.
Nope, he's just leaning the ball to his teammates, and he converts us down here with Pierce.
They want the ball to go to the strong side so they can trap.
Scary. And now Mascari at midcourt goes to Stirtz. Alley-oop.
And his demeanor on the court is completely unflappable.
Nope. A steal. Stirtz with a trailer and Banks.
Drake points. And the turnovers have really been a problem so far for Bradley.
What a feed. What a finish. Picked up. Ben McCollum is over there.
They're just clarifying the shot.
Yes, exactly. 5 seconds to go. Quick inbound. Taken by Banks.
Boy, that's a defensive.
Points, assists, and steals, the only player in the nation to lead his conference in all 3 of those categories.
You see the three-point shooting, not great. They're a 36% three-point club on the regular season. Howard, the freshman, into the lane. Final seconds, first half. Stirtz been frustrated so far.
Boy, look at the defense sucking in.
Abreu a 3. Got it! That's a big shot for Drake.
Banks use that old school inside pivot move. It is really difficult to stop because he's right on top of you on the catch.
Wide open Howard from the corner.
Why they lead the league in steals.
All right, so Moreno has checked in for Southern. As Diva will take a quick breather here. Again, he has 2 fouls along with Sykes.
They're going to play drop coverage with Moreno. He can't switch. Feet aren't good enough.
Jackson sets the pick for Stirtz. Howard wide open look again.
Some stops
Drake will really milk the clock.
And now does it again, and the
games 5-0 in overtime. It's an amazing stat.
What's that non-conference record at home is like? It's been a long time since they've actually lost a non-conference game at the Knapp Center, isn't it?
Yeah, Bradley was able to break that home win streak in the conference. Their 2-point win at the Knapp Center.
7 straight years the Drake Bulldogs have had at least 20 wins. But this year, as you mentioned, it's a new band of leaders. It starts with Ben McCullum and it's
defensive switch, and Chase Martin guarding him for a moment. Pass comes inside the bench. Bonsu now comes out. Now we'll go back inside. They try to get the ball to him. It's a bad pass, and it's picked off by Abreu. Drake trying to take advantage of the Bears turnover with 4:10 to play. Banks sets the high screen. Stirtz unable to move around it the first time. Stirtz works his way into the lane. Isaiah Howard to the basket. Draws the foul, counts the basket. And
basis of this for the bread and butter of this Drake offense. That time paying dividends is Howard, the guy setting the screen.
So again, we talked about Missouri State, this young team having trouble finishing in the last 3 minutes. Nevertheless, get the feeling maybe nobody would really want to play them in the tournament as Drake.
To finish with the 1 seed. These teams know that they will not have to play on Thursday in St. Louis at the conference tournament. They have already earned a first-round bye. And that's big.
Huge, especially you get a later start time.
Maniac on the pass from Stirtz, and that's how.
They've been ball screening this entire second half, the Bulldogs.
Stirtz cuts. Yeah, Schmidt got over there to seal that off. Down to Manial. Good move. Drake in that victory.
There's a lot of questions. Does Drake bench strong enough to keep them going? They answer the question there. Drake
hoping to get out to a quick start here today.
He is their fourth scorer. He needs to step up big. And now they take Duke Dean. They're going to put him on Stirtz, use quickness. First they had Davis with size.
Mitch Mass, scary again.
Stirtz, the leader in the valley, steals. Picks one. Another turnover for the Braves.
Bulldogs had 15 steals against the Braves last time they played. Manyow gets loose. Beautiful pocket. I think the conventional wisdom is if they don't win the Valley tournament, that they're probably on the outside looking in for the Nationals.
There's a lot of talk about that, Clay, and a lot of discussion about a team that couldn't win 30 games. And we saw it last year with Indiana.
At home, and my favorite part about the trophy is the 1979 Larry Bird mustache that is just immaculate.
It was epic. Nice little give and go there, and a high arcing layup. Good for
3 guys out. Fouled 3 guys out just because of his prowess in the paint.
Stirtz will pass it out. Swish on a 3. And 1 of 2 for Pence. Each team shooting over 65% from the floor early on in this one. 5-point game. Drake with the ball. Drake wearing the whites tonight. Ray left open for a 3. Spins it in. 17, and now unanswered at the other end by Walker.
Yeah, great pass that time. Dalton Banks very decisive on the delivery. Haven't called Chase Walker's name in a few minutes, but now up to 20 points.
Same as he had in the first meeting between these two teams back in early January or mid-January. And off to Combs. Bounce pass. That was kind of strange. Combs again at the shot clock horn. Gets it in. He is fired up. He's been fired up this whole game.
Yeah. Yes, he has. He is fiery as well. And 11 plays his best.
Now the other 11. Combs with 13 points in the game. Stirtz, nice give and go inside, hanging and scoring, and a foul as well. Splits the difference. He has 13 in limited action today due to early foul trouble.
This game back down to 8, so Redbirds again cutting it to the smallest deficit we've seen in the second half.
I was telling you in a break, I mean, the thing that is so impressive about this Drake team is you counted 6 guys playing their first year of D1 basketball, and nobody panics when the shot clock gets down to 8. Right there, that's scary. Proving our point.
Lineup the same as it's been virtually all season long, with the exception of one game when Isaiah Jackson couldn't go because of an ankle injury. Bennett Stirtz kicks the ball back outside.
Well, you go back to the Drake Bulldogs using that shot clock, and there's just a great feed. Stirtz on the floor. It's just tough to read.
Dowdy comes up with a steal at the other end. Trying to score is Aaron Gray. And the Bulldogs quickly get down the court offensively. They'll take the fast break when they get it. That time they got it, and they got a foul as well.
Able to get right to the rack and get another layup. The Bulldogs don't waste any time, though. Just getting that transition offense, getting it going, forcing Indiana State to move.
Normally not a range that
points Indiana State, everything coming right at the rim. They're converting their layups this part of the second half.
Yeah, the threes weren't falling, so they go inside, and it's being successful.
Well, the only thing you can do is just a great pass there, Stirtz. It's a great cut.
4 baskets in the second half. Teal, on the other hand, 15 points in the first half, has not scored in the second half.
Yeah, and that was just a great recognition right there. The defense is out covering just to release, just to slip that screen action, and a nice find.
Ferguson trouble catching the pass, but he's able to retrieve it and get it back to Stirtz.
Sycamores right now giving the Bulldogs kind of a taste of their own medicine. They're just in the pocket, have the hands, really playing physical.
Abreu for 3. He has been red hot from 7. A moment ago they had it at 7, but other than that you have to go back to early in the first half.
Well, I think Indiana State's done a nice job just disrupting the offensive flow of the Bulldogs. They've been able to be in the pocket, and they've been really playing physical.
Stirtz with a nice pot along with Jackson. Banks, who plays with 4 fouls. Also Abreu and Mascari. Here's Stirtz. Passes right back to Banks, and he scores, and the Bulldogs
has not been able to finish. Missed opportunities by the Racers.
Howard for Drake. A breakout game against Murray despite the loss. And 13 points Saturday at Missouri State, even though it was a defeat.
Big second half and their win at the Knapp Center for Applewhite. Hit some huge baskets down the stretch. Can repeat it again.
We were talking with Steve Prohm, even though Drake is leading the league, he likes this matchup. What a move for Tavion. Fifth-year senior Jacoby Wood out of Cleveland, Tennessee.
Now Milton has drawn the assignment on Stirtz since Ferguson's gone out.
Stirtz, little pocket pass to Banks, and he does the rest.
To Murray State's offense.
He's been a traveler. Played at Mississippi State, went to Portland for a while, and this is his second year at Murray. Banks found a seam.
He's been in double figures in all but 2 games this year. He's been fun to watch here in Carbondale.
He's second in the Valley to scoring, right behind Stirtz. A fantastic quick step, long stride, hard to stay in front of him.
Here's Stirtz. Will pass out to the 3-point line, and Daniel.
A rare miscue by Drake Bulldogs to get scored on an OB play.
Banks answers back.
Members roll on that one, and then a little pressure by Salukis. Keep changing those defensive looks.
Just trying to get Drake out of rhythm.
Now Diba on Stirtz. They're going to switch it.
Stirtz never takes a break. Great feet on the baseline.
There, the turnaround right over the defender.
That's a situation where Drake misses Mannion.
Yeah, great point play. He's got very few minutes.
On the reverse, Banks, good touch.
Been much more aggressive and solid here in the second half. More determined look on Drake's face. Again, now they're showing the zone by Southern. Hard to do with Mascari and Stirtz out there.
Drake at the foul line the rest of the game. 5 to shoot. Stirtz drives again. Lobs it up. Popping it in on the other side.
Both these teams, 2 of the top 50 in the country in effective field goal percentage.
Drake on the offensive side. Jackson out to Stirtz. Drake as a team shoots better than 48% from the floor. Mannion on the drive for the UNI Panthers.
Now Weisbrod, a guy that can really help this offense. His shooting ability came in with a reputation as a knockdown shooter. That time going in 2-point land. Hasn't found a consistent option on offense so far for the Panthers, but he could. McCollum calls it death by 1,000 cuts, just trying to out-execute their opponent every possession.
Drake comes away with the takeaway. 3rd turnover for the UNI Panther offense.
You know, in an interesting spot, the lineup on the floor for the Panthers, especially without Leon Bond, having Titan Anderson out of the game as well as Trey Campbell. Interesting to see where keep Drake to getting this thing with the chance for double figures going into halftime.
Stirtz with the takeaway ahead to Howard, dumps it off to Mannion. It was too far underneath the basket, somehow saved the possession for Drake. And got a 4-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. Drake's going to bring this one down inside 6 seconds. Stirtz working off Schmidt out to the corner. Abreu for 3.
Hard to run actions against Drake. You really need to be able to penetrate it. It's what UIC had some luck with. Also Murray in the 2 losses.
Nate Ferguson, who's a holdover from last year, and boy,
is the only team in the country, Tom. The only team that is in the top 25 in both offensive percentage and defensive rebound percentage. And that's the entire world. They're the only one.
3 out front, up and good, and there he is again, Mascari. Well, Texas in a transfer from Midwestern State.
Going to get to a side ball screen and a high-low. Here a handoff for Stirtz, and he's lobbing it going left now. So he can do it going left. So there's a +1 for Manya, or for Osei Bonsu missing the layup. Middle ball screen now turns into a side ball screen, and Stirtz will keep it in his hands until he can get someone a lay-in. What a great play.
Cruz, Monegro, every time Bennett Stirtz gets it, even in the full court, picking up, just putting a little more pressure on number 14 in blue.
Now, every coach obviously has Stirtz circled on their scouting report, and it's interesting to see the different ways they try to
get to the rim, as we see Isaiah Shaw continuing his hot play, his hot shooting, knocking down the mid-range that time.
Valpo by 1 as we approach the 12-minute mark in the first half. No fast break baskets thus far, so right now the game being played at Drake's pace.
Yes. This is, and it is hard if you're a team that wants to get out and run, because of how slow Drake is on both ends. Is
cold thus far, really hasn't had that many touches, but he's able to score there for his second basket.
And I think the Beacons need Cooper Schwieger to be aggressive. When he gets the basketball, he's got a size advantage, 6'10", 6'11" against Daniel Abreu, about 6'6". Abreu really strong, really physical. Schwieger got to be aggressive, continuing to go to the rim to settle in this Beacon offense.
Stirtz with the kick, Abreu with a 3, tries to wish. Jackson see more playing time tonight than he has in recent ball games because of that ankle injury. Bulldogs in that throwback uniforms, first time this year they've worn those, which might indicate something about the significance that Ben McCollum feels about this game. Mascari has been red hot, he still is.
For this Valpo group.
Yeah, 170 assists last year, second in the NBC. Bulldogs with the shot clock winding down in the half. Get the ball to Howard, and Howard threads the
13-point game right now, 16.5 to play. Coach Roger Powell, I think, smartly electing to roll the dice, wanting 2 of his starters to stay on the floor despite having 3 fouls.
Stirtz, baseline, Banks. There's another 2 for Tate to score.
Now that's a big play right there, a big momentum swing. Justice McNair, active hands on the defensive side. We saw him do that against Belmont as well. Can wreak havoc on the defensive end.
Yeah, suddenly when you get down to 10, and that makes it more manageable for the team that's behind.
And back-to-back buckets with the stop for Valpo, just good for the confidence.
And then the Bulldogs patiently will slow the pace with 12.5 left to play. Stirtz takes it into the corner. Mascari hanging out in that left corner where he loves to shoot the 3 ball. Now he sets his screen. Stirtz can't get around him. Mascari fires for 3, and the pass banks in.
Clear that one is just not matching up on the defensive end for Drake again. Valpo pushing the pace. De La Cruz Monegro getting an easy 2.
He now goes to double figures with 11. Once again, single-digit Drake lead of 9. Just over 10 left to play. Howard thought he saw an opening, did not. So the Bulldogs will reset the offense. Abreu looks for help. Here's Mascari. Shot clock is at 7. In deep is Jackson. Shot clock is at 4. Mascari has been red hot. Still is.
This Drake team get out in passing lanes.
Drake averaging 9 steals per game. Here's Mascari, their 3-point specialist. It's a Drake team again, even though that it's entirely new roster, Kevin Lehman. That's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, you see the defense right now. One of the problems Indiana State has had is the turnovers, and they've got a turnover problem to start this game.
Five turnovers for Indiana State, and Master the foul, no whistle.
Indiana State wants to get a shot up before Drake can set their defense. They're going to really push tempo. Manyau's got a mismatch inside.
And Manyau finishes on the...
Watch that Murray State staff start looking up who is this guy as he came in that game, and it was a huge impact. And here he comes again.
Howard with the tomahawk on the feet.
Steals, assist to turnover ratio, and minutes played.
Yeah, he never leaves the floor, it seems.
It's 38 minutes, and with his wind gusts up to 40. His favorite saying is death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Another Indiana State turnover. Look at that. Wide open was Combs. Could have turned and shot, but it's not what they do. It takes some clock. Stirtz to a flashing Mannion
for a low possession team.
Well, another possession that Indiana State throws away as Dowdy commits the foul. And Drake will go back to work bleeding the shot clock.
Dowdy's been locked on to Mascari.
Boy, Banks from Stirtz. That is it.
Banks got there late, didn't want to create the foul. So he's playing with 3. But look at that. They just got Mascari parked on the left side. Playing. It opens that up for all his drives.
Stirtz again, a nice pass. We have 4:40 to go. 21-point lead. It's the largest lead of the game for Drake. Alley-oop, and Banks will flush.
In double figures, and Bennett Stirtz talked about it already. First in assists per game in the Valley, first in steals per game, second in scoring. He has been the leader for this great team.
Creating with 8 to lead the way for Drake. Pence takes it to the rack. Kinziger, the offensive rebound. It's taken away by Cale Combs.
It looked like there might have been some contact with Ferguson as Pence went to the rim. No call from the official. Both these teams playing physical on both ends.
Combs has been part of Drake's bench boost that they've gotten the last week and a half. 9 points against Evansville, 10 against Bradley underneath him.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup underneath for Dalton Banks and Davion Banks. We talked about his scoring, but that rebounding on the offensive side has gotten rebounds. Big reason is big number 35, right? Give him the basketball. And his 3rd field goal, Chase Walker up to 9 points.
Stirtz working off the screen. And gets it back top of the key, and screeners come back up top. Coach P said Stirtz is a wizard in ball screen situations.
Ball movement from the Redbirds. And Landon Wolf in the corner, and a guy that's killed the Bulldogs. You mentioned it, Brad. In his career as a UNI Panther, doing the same here in Redbird Black.
8 points now for Wolf. And the soft
big fella, twinkle toes. That's a heck of a spin move in the lane. When you're 6'9", 275 pounds, you can move like that. Get buckets, big fella.
Remember, a season ago, Illinois State pulled his red shirt January 10th. Played 17 games last season. Contributor down the stretch. Abreu will fire another 3. That one falls. Urgency and attention to detail, and he said against this Drake team, you just have to play physical and you have to play tough. You have to do it the full 40 minutes.
Yeah, and you need your guys that are fifth-year players like Dalton Banks to be able to step up and help lead through his effort, coming off the bench in double figures.
Officials do confirm. Wave that basket off. Drake maintains a 2-point lead.
And remember that one, Brad, just by the fingernail of Chase Walker as we come down these last 3 minutes.
Oh, and then Mascari.
The Bulldogs have a chance to increase their 2-point lead at the 15.5 mark in the first half.
Defensively in the paint, you make the big man spin, and Mannion right there to strip him of the basketball.
Abreu for 3.
It doesn't end up that way at those preseason polls.
Cale Combs, who did not start the ball game, does start the second half. Again, Isaiah Jackson tried to go on his bad ankle and played very limited minutes in the first half. We don't expect to see him back.
Now we see him over there on the bench, and you could see a little look of frustration on his face as he was not able to get out on the starting lineup here in the second half.
And if there's anybody on Ben McCullum's team that he wants on Tayshawn Comer, it would be Isaiah Jackson. Nice shot by Cale Combs, tries to turn around against him, has to kick it out for Hafner. Hafner from the corner for 3. And the rebound comes to Stirtz. He leads the break for the Bulldogs. Nice job by Cuff to slow him down.
A really good job of slowing him down because he had sights on getting all the way to the hoop, and Stirtz, knowing the flow of the game, what they want to do, he didn't have the numbers, so he pulled it back up, and they're going to run a little clock here.
Stirtz Tries to shovel on the pass, and he gets it in time to Cam Mannion.
And how to play it always has the advantage.
Does a nice job finding Combs on the baseline. The tip won't go. Battle for it. Coming out with it is Tavion Banks. The Bulldogs with a fresh 20.
Another one of the Bulldogs missed really close. One of those, yes, it was contested, but we're not able to convert.
Shot clock at 5. Banks in deep. Scores it.
Friendly roll, and finally they do.
And a good-natured cheer from the Knapp Center crowd as the Purple Aces score their first point of the second half at the 11:05 mark.
Evansville going to be a little bit more aggressive as they got Comer on Stirtz, but it didn't pay off. Aggressive in these last 6 minutes.
Combs in deep, can't score it. Manuel, offensive rebound. Kicks it back outside to Mascari. Stirtz directing the offense, pointing as he always does, leading the way for who should get the ball. Abreu looking for 3.
And stop a 2-game losing streak. Thomas for Dean. Mascari hassles him. Mascari has the steal. Combs for Stirtz. Layup for Howard. Duke team has just reached 300 career assists at Bradley. They play 1 year of junior college. They play in the Sun Belt at Troy for 1 year. It was the Sun Belt Freshman of the Year. Combs in traffic, tough shot. Yeah.
And I like that. Get a quick set. Drake has really been disrupted defensively, especially on dribble jet penetrations. Get that ball into the post and let your big man go to work.
Had a first double-figure score of the game tonight. He's got 10. Stirtz still no field goals. Nice roll, Ferguson to the basket. For the
presence on the floor. Young man that has a bright future here at Drake.
6 points, 4 rebounds off the bench for Isaiah Howard tonight. Stirtz feeding. Banks gathers, lays it in for 2. Drake up 4 and the ball here. 4 assists for Stirtz. No field goals in the game, and his team is up. Make it 5 assists. From beyond the arc, they've not hit a 3 tray in the second half tonight.
They have to figure out an offensive set that they can go to. And they get high look opportunities.
Mascari wants another, has another for Drake. He picks it. Good anticipation that time. Half-court defense for Bradley. Dean running. First didn't see it coming. Turn right back over to Stirtz. On a bounce for Howard. The freshman hits for 2 more. Was here in Peoria. Ferguson. Good press break. Davis trying to foul him. Ready to shoot here. D2 star transfer Stirtz. Runs the show. Ferguson. Mascari. Faking a 3, 5 to shoot. Back to Stirtz with 4. Mascari long 3. Airborne. Got it! Another.
Swinging around. Good defense by Stirtz. Steps in front for the first turnover.
Leads the Valley in steals. That's why Stirtz. Great anticipation in the passing lane.
Stirtz for Manuel. Underneath. Great adjustment for Cam.
He's ready to go. He is a gunslinger.
He had 82 threes at Northwest Missouri last year. Already half that many this season. Has 1 today. They drop it inside for Banks, and he got it.
There's State came after the same play.
Wood throws it right into the hands of Stirtz. It's a 2-on-1. Stirtz lobbing it back. And finishing his Combs. Harcum. That's his third 3 today.
That's big time. Crossover ankle breaker.
Mascari tries to answer, and he does.
And this is the matchup we really want to see early, that if the Flames do get in a half-court setting, that they make it a priority to get the ball down to Siani with 2 feet in the basket. I don't think Drake has anyone that can contest or block his 2-foot, 1-hand jump shot.
Stirtz weaving and Manuel finishing. If there's any big man to contend with Siani, it's the 6'8" Manuel, who forces another steal.
Well, active hands, always the sign of a really good active defense, and Drake has that early on. this early afternoon game.
Stirtz plunging in. Another feed, another finish. Mason muscles by him, loses it, and another Drake steal. Here the Bulldogs go. Stirtz. And to Banks for the finish.
Elite Eight down in Evansville for the past 2 years, and so I've seen him play a fair bit. And really just one of the most well-respected coaches in the game, period. And his team always plays the game the right way, always has good kids.
And Abreu cashes for...
And I believe it was Henderson got almost triple teamed, which means somebody's open. That time it was Freeman. He stepped up and knocked it down.
Flames are shooting 62% against a top defensive unit. Stirtz goes to work. He is so dangerous as he goes down low. Banks for two.
Yeah, before we went to that break, Sam, talking about Coach East on that last possession, the Flames really have to tighten. Even though they're doing a better job on defense, they can be doing better. They have to communicate more, and then they have to get the rebound. That last possession, the shot went up. Everybody took off down the other end. Drake got the offensive board.
Stirtz down to Mannion.
Uncharacteristic of that is him, but they'll take it any way they can get it at this point.
9 points, 4 of 5 shooting for the big man from Slovenia. It's Jackson. Abreu back to Stirtz. Stirtz. Probing. Now it's Mannion and a foul.
Yeah, it's by Coach Eason to run that isolation play. And, Kinsleris needs to knock those down. The Flames, if they want to have a chance, need to execute those type of plays.
Abreu. Down to Isaiah Jackson. Down to 3 on the shot clock. Behind the back. Jackson finished.
In the era of NIL, I mean, certainly this first year bringing over the core of his team and, players like Bennett, Stirtz, how is he going to recruit? It'll be something to see the next 2 or 3 years here, but certainly an outstanding first season for Coach McCollum.
Mascari from the top of the key.
That it wasn't working defensively with him in the game.
The Flames' best player by the numbers, but maybe not fit for this one.
Well, a lot of that,
5.
Yeah, a lot of that, again, goes back to what are you going to emphasize, and they weren't overly emphasizing him on offense, and he was almost a liability on defense.
On the pick and roll, Banks has it easy.
The separation. I'm going to try and pressure Stirtz a little bit more, and if he doesn't have the ball, face guard him so he can't get it back. I mean, literally 50% of Drake's offensive production coming from one person.
Ferguson over Pickett. Now, Bennett Stirtz has scored or assisted 23 of Drake's 26 buckets. Gives it up. Abreu, teardrop, rattles in.
Regularity, that is a lot of what you see out of Casey Alexander's offense. Ball screens, moving it around the perimeter, hitting it in for open looks. That one just unable to go down.
Stirtz out to Mascari, a long triple, and it's lead of the game at 10. We'll try and build on that. Another turnover, that's the 9th for the Bruins here in the first half.
Part of how this Drake team grinds you out is after those turnovers, willing to go slow, force you to defend.
A 17-point lead for the Bulldogs. Stirtz dumps it off. Ferguson underneath.
I mean, Tyler Lundblade is a 5-alarm fire every time he catches the ball in a shooting position. 6'5", 6'6", has a high release as well. Difficult to contest the shot if he catches in a shooting pocket.
Stirtz goes to Banks. Stirtz to kick out Abreu for 3 is good.
Good job by the officials coming together, and Green Bay coming back out in that 1-2-2, 1-2-1-1-ish pressure, just trying to control pace and tempo.
Stirtz finds Mannion. Mannion finds his second basket.
Off that bump from Abreu.
Injured late in the ball game against Michigan Tech on Wednesday. They hoped he would be back, and he is at full strength. Nice feed once again
It's about the pace, and remember, I know you mentioned it at the beginning, Larry, but the nation's leading scorer not here, Anthony Roy, on this Green Bay team is.
And working inside is Mac Recchi. And Recchi has a season high of 14 points. Previous high 10 a couple of times. That's also a career high as he is a freshman in this Phoenix program.
And attacking right at Mitch Mascari, who has those 3 fouls, had to kind of back up as we see a baseline cut, driving from the top of the key. The opposite baseline guy cutting hard to the backside. Good find from Wonders. So Selka able to finish up and under.
And there's a beautiful pass. Stirtz now 16 of 17 from the foul line. So again, that was one of the important things for Drake today, to keep them relatively off the foul line. Bulldogs now will pull it out and chew up a little bit of time here in the game's final minutes. The drive by Stirtz, and he leaves it for Maniau.
Look at the Drake starting 5. 4 of the 5. Jackson, Stirtz, Mascari, and Abreu. And right out of the chute.
4 of those players with him to Drake. Those 4 players all played on a national championship team.
There's Drake looking to add to an early 5-0 lead. Here's Stirtz, blind pass underneath, laid in by Maniau.
State.
Will be 4 points. He's played 8 minutes. And missed by McDaniel off the glass.
There's the ball just stuck. It didn't move out of McDaniel's hands. When they're moving side to side, Wildcats are much more effective.
Stirtz, lob, stuff, Maniau.
1 free throw.
Stirtz, floater, short, an offensive rebound by Tavion Banks.
The ball pressure on Stirtz.
Banks aggressively to the rim.
By Spriggs, just unable to hang on. But pretty good offense so far.
Drake winners of 25 in a row on their home court. That is 3rd best in the country. Houston and UConn tied for number 1. Going right to the paint is Cam.
Hasn't done a lot of give up offensive rebounds to their opponents. That time a second chance opportunity for the Fighting Bees.
St. Ambrose staying within 4 points of Drake early, 3 minutes into the contest. Stirtz, the lob for Maniau. A member of that conference, coming off a Saturday loss to Holy Cross, 74-69. They were down 19-4 in that ball game, rallied back, got within 2, but couldn't finish. He's never had a full-time assistant coach. And you saw his assistant, Jim Kiss, just a part-time assistant. Stirtz with the takeaway, Stirtz with a lob, and the finish by Banks.
Coming into a program, and he's got some of the mainstays from Northwest Missouri State, built up some wins, but now getting a chance to Abreu out in transition. Nice spot. The ball in the strain and roll. Just it takes whatever the defense gives him. This time getting a turnover going down the other way.
Stirtz with another steal. 10th turnover against St. Ambrose. Bennett Stirtz has already come up with 3 steals in this one.
And that we talk a lot about his offense, but Bennett Stirtz really solid on the defensive end. Active hands as Tavion.
That's right. You had a really good point there. The 3 try by Nakunda won't go. Running down the rebound is Cale Combs. Combs at Wyoming last year, played in 26 ball games, averaged a little less than 3 points a game. Howard lines up for 3.
That's how you mentioned the start. Valpo's not getting to play at the pace they love to play. They've done a nice job in the half court, but where they're excelling is in the half court defensively.
That's a great point. They've held Drake to 5 points in just 7 minutes. Stirtz. Now it's the freshman McNair on him. Stirtz turns the corner. Again, he'll look to drive and pass, and Abreu is open for 3. Knock down those shots. Has hit too early, and Valpo regains the lead.
That's how he hunted that 3-point shot. Set a screen, flared off of it, and boy, that was a difficult shot that he made.
Stirtz unable to get this shot off. Now he lobs for Banks, and he got Schmidt off his feet, and then when he came down, we'll put it as politely as possible when we see that arm extended there. And a chance for a 3-point play. So what a turn of a... Sort of looked like the game was going to get away. Valpo's hit back-to-back 3s, and they've cut it to 8.
And screening with Isaiah Shaw is a good idea there because they will not switch on that screen. They're staying with Shaw. And so if a defender can't get through, that's leaving Valpo open players.
The lob, Stirtz to...
Fade away. but really nice job by Horn going through Tavion Banks, going up to finish that one with the right hand on the left side.
Bulldogs with an early 11-point lead. It has been shaved to 5. Stirtz finds an open Tavion Banks.
Just
about that time, and he connected.
And in the first half, how about this? Only one Eagle had more than one field goal. That was Nakavion White. Now joining him is Eugene Brown, getting his second field goal of the game.
Manuel has to pitch it back outside. Georgia Southern has done a nice job on the defensive end. Forced the Bulldogs into a couple of shot clock violations. Here's Stirtz with 4 on the shot clock, and again the Bulldogs winding the. And one of the interesting things about the Drake offense, how often the big guys really start the offense up front.
Yeah.
Abreu hands to Stirtz. Stirtz, the MVP of the Charleston Classic, finds Abreu for 3.
And a little crisper. No Nate Ferguson in the game. No Cam Maniau in the game. Eugene Brown, it's 6'8", able to sky over everyone and get that finish.
No 6'7" Tavion Banks as well. From the corner, the 3 ball knocked down by Isaiah. Drake an 8-point lead as we go under 6 minutes. Got the Bulldogs prepping for their conference opener against Valparaiso on Thursday night. Stirtz finds an open Mascari. Mascari buries the 3.
Of course, the guys that we talked about, Nate Ferguson, Andrew Aaliyah, stayed in a Drake uniform. And now building some early seeds of success here.
Stirtz the lob, and Maniau the.
That open side ball screen, they've hit Maniau twice, one for a bucket, one for a missed layup.
Abreu somehow.
Stirtz finds a wide open. Easy to buy into. Like, this is a really unselfish team for so many new guys this early in the year.
Stirtz, another great find. Maniau goes up with it over carry. And
Vanderbilt plays out of in their offense. They get you in rotation and help and recover, and then they just chew you up.
Great pass from Stirtz. Can Maniau continue? On the drive, rejected. Vanderbilt keeps it, but then it's stolen away by Abreu. Tied at 29, under 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Mascari, he's red hot. Nothing.
After a big game on Friday.
And 24 points for Nickel in the semifinal. A ghost in the first half. Maniau rejected at the rim. Here's Mitch Mascari, a deep 3. It's good.
Not what they're comfortable doing because they don't typically cover that way. And Stirtz says, "Thank you very much."
And Grant Huffman, the best on-ball defender for Vanderbilt, going against Stirtz. Kick to the corner. Abreu. Got it! Daniel Abreu. And this is both at the line.
Game like this, those types of misses, 2 in a row, is big.
Stirtz hands it off. Banks this time makes the layup.
Vanderbilt's defense.
He has 8 assists tonight. And another forced turnover. Up ahead. Bennett Stirtz leaves it. Tavion Banks again. Abreu leans in for 2. Bogart has to hurry. Goes begging right at the end of the shot clock. Up ahead. Nate Ferguson for 2. And it's a...
Florida Atlantic has changed the lineup. They've got Glenn in as one big and Carroll in as the other. So now their offense will flow a little differently.
Abreu's third three-point attempt, and this one is good. Third time's the charm.
About Drake, I think Drake can play at different paces. They can play fast if they have to in transition. They can play half court. And I think that's the thing, because these guys have played so well and so long together, they're comfortable either way.
Counting down to 5 minutes to go in the first half. It has been a close contest throughout. And now Mascari, that's Mascari leading all scorers today. 18 of his 19 field goals on the season, Coach, have been the three-point variety.
He really spaces the floor extremely well for Drake.
He's made 4 threes today. Make it 5! Right on cue. The Owls. Those 4 D2 transfers on the floor, but it's the one who isn't. It is. I remember coming here and covering the Cougars when Bobby was the head coach. He would ride his bicycle to practices. His best friends who he played tennis with would come hang out along with his golden retrievers. I said to him, "You're the hardest working retired guy I know."
He's such a special young man. I say, there's so many stories. Nobody dislikes Bobby Crumley.
Jackson puts one up and knocks it down. A reluctant shooter.
He really is tough driving. He just got to figure out again when it's time to change gears a little bit.
Try to thread the needle to Jackson. Now the handoff to Mascari. 5 to shoot. Inside Banks.
They use that high post.
But Drake, for their part, 3rd in the nation in points against.
Like I said, it's a contrast in style. A lot of it has to do with the way Drake handles the basketball, take their time scoring.
Nice pocket pass, Stirtz.
Do everything it can right now to cut that lead and to try to go in the half either up or tied.
Cleveland, State McCrary, and Pack, all with 5 points, but that is the top scorer for the Miami Hurricanes. Here's a lob, and Nate Ferguson.
I think Drake took the time out. They missed some shots that they normally make. I think Coach just wants to calm them down and make sure they get good looks.
Here's another lob, and they get the same result. Hubert Davis and company as they get set to play in the Maui Invitational.
1 minute and a half.
So now a 5-point Drake lead with the basketball. Under a minute to go. Another lob. Could they do it again? Yes, they can.
Has to get the ball inside. It does a couple things. It collapses the defense. It creates driving lanes. It creates easier 3-point shots.
Bennett Stirtz, backdoor Jackson. And look at Stirtz with the steal. And the lob! Oh my, that went in and out. That would have been a highlight play and a bow on this gift of the game for the Drake Bulldogs. Nevertheless, a 12-point lead, and they are trying to run out the clock with 30 seconds to go. Backdoor, Abreu, cap it.
The floor games we've seen from Bennett Stirtz here just in 2 games in a Bulldog uniform, but really understands when to attack, when to push, sees the floor well, good passer.
Jackson with the pitch for Abreu. Now Stirtz down the lane. He kicks from Magno. Magno goes up and scores. An up and under move by Ken Magno.
Great awareness by Mitch Mascari on the backside to knock that one away. Looked like Kelman had an open opportunity off the catch, but Mascari knocking the ball away, forcing the turnover.
Both teams down with 7 turnovers as we near the 5-minute mark in the first half. Ferguson drives the lane and scores. Florida Gulf Coast now 0 of 5 shooting the 3 ball. Stirtz with the penetration. Abreu is open. Knocks down his second 3 of the night.
More floor spacing for Drake.
Stirtz with 25 points leading the Bulldogs. He's also drawn 7 fouls. Puts the ball to the court. Here's the shot by Abreu for 3, and the Bulldogs take the lead
on the Daniel Abreu 3 with 23 seconds to play.
For Nate Ferguson, I mean, 4 years in one program at one place, but a new look. Here we go. Look out.
He still can finish. 15 games have found a scoring stride late last season, and trying to bring that to the capital city here in Iowa.
Yeah, won the conference tournament, most outstanding player. Heck of a weekend there. And as you mentioned, BJ, carrying it forward to his time now in Drake Bulldog, white and blue.
And how about the
McCollum's offense?
Looking to drive it, Leaks. And Ferguson with the board. Mascari. Now to Stirtz, to Ferguson. The extra pass will pay off. And how about that jumper from 17?
Making up for the one he missed a little earlier. You could tell he was motivated to get it back. Good little midi from Holston.
The 6'5 junior out of Omaha, Nebraska gets into the scoring column. Here's Abreu. Speaking of scoring column.
Good passing, good spacing for the Bulldogs.
That one tipped away. Jackson up with it to Abreu. From the corner, the three. Got it!
And on the offensive end. Good unselfish play. Getting nutting that open look.
By the way, 27 in the game for Abreu is a career high for him. This three, good. Aaliyah. And Combs will punch it out. Now Stirtz sets up the offense to Combs in the paint.